Boomer Jund. What is Boomer Jund? A lot of you people who might be new to the game may not know exactly what I'm talking about. So, in order to understand what Boomer Jund is, you need to understand a set that came out in 2008. This set was called Alara, and this block of sets gave us the name Jund. It also gave us the name Esper and Grixis and Bant. All of these different triple color pairings didn't have a name before this set came out because the story of this set was based around this maelstrom of colors that gave us each of those three color triplings. And one of them, above all others, became the deck to beat. And this deck was Jund. It was the original Jund. This deck was a powerhouse in Standard because of how good it was at applying pressure at every turn of the game and having damn near every card in the deck pulling double duty. Every card did at least two things. It became such a difficult deck to keep up with. It was such a pain in the ass. And it was probably one of the decks that I ended up playing against the most during that season. It was such a pain. But that's what I'm getting to. This deck was so good. It was so dominant that when the Discover mechanic came out in Ixalan, it reminded me very much of the Cascade mechanic, which this deck was originally based off of. So, in order to understand how we can build a standard Boomer Jund update, we need to take a look at what this deck was. So let's go take a peek at it. So this is a deck by David Reitbauer in 2009. This deck is the quintessential version of Boomer Jund, the OG. So without looking at all the lands, we're going to look at a few of the key cards in this deck that made this deck so dominant. First up, you need to understand Cascade. Cascade was a mechanic that basically, when you cast a card with Cascade, you would then start flipping over cards on your deck until you found a spell. Now, that could be a creature or a non-creature spell that cost less than the card that you just cast. So in the case of Bloodbraid Elf here, you would flip over cards until you found a 3 or fewer cost card. And that card that you flipped over could be Putrid Leech, it could be Sprouting Thrynax, it could be Blightning, or Burst Lightning, or Lightning Bolt, or Maelstrom Pulse, or Terminate. It could be any of these cards. It was such a strong mechanic because, and this is a surprise to no one, free spells are kinda busted. So, not only was Bloodbraid Elf a good Cascade card in this deck, but also this card right here, Bituminous Blast. 3 colors, a black and red. It has Cascade, which means because this card costs 5, you then get to Cascade for 4. And what costs 4 in this deck? Bloodbraid Elf costs 4. And then Bloodbraid Elf comes in and cascades for 3 and gets any of those other removal spells. And Bit Blast was a removal spell itself. It would kill any creature of toughness 4 or less. It was just really, really good. Other cards to consider for this deck were Blightning. Blightning was basically a Mind Rot that deals 3 damage to a player. You could very easily kill people, burn people out with a free Blightning off of Bloodbraid Elf. Now, another thing is you have Broodmade Dragon. Broodmate Dragon was a great finisher because it was a 4/4 for 6 mana that would summon a copy of itself when you cast it. So you're basically paying 6 mana for 8/8 worth of power and toughness. And you have things like Master of the Wild Hunt, a creature that creates more creatures. Putrid Leech is a good 2-drop that you can make bigger by paying 2 life. Sprouting Thrynax, a 3/3 for 3 that when it dies, it leaves behind 3/1/1s. And so you see the theme here is all of these cards doing multiple things. Well, except for Lightning Bolt, but Lightning Bolt was Lightning Bolt, and you're not going to cast that. Then, like in the sideboard, you look at things like Duress, Goblin Ruin Blaster, Great Sable Stag was a great sideboard option, Jund Charm, a 4th Maelstrom Pulse, Thought Hemorrhage. You could very easily knock someone out with a Thought Hemorrhage too. This card was incredible back then. But yeah, so now that you've seen the origins of the deck, now we can go take a look at what the deck looks like now and how we can take the lessons of OG Boomer Jund and create a new standard deck using this as a model. Okay, so this is my take on Boomer Jund in 2024. This deck is 100% rotation proof. Not a single card in this deck will be rotating, so if you want to build this deck, you can feel free to craft it without worrying about will this card rotate or not. So let's take a peek here. So with the Boomer Jund, the original archetype, it was built around Cascade. Now, we don't have Cascade anymore, but what we do have is Discover. And the best allegory we have for Bloodbraid Elf is Geological Appraiser. It costs the same. It's a 3/2, just like the original creature. The only difference is we don't have haste on this. So that is one bad part about it, but we do still get to Discover off of 3. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the Discover mechanic, it's basically Cascade, but better. With Cascade, you had to cast the spell that you cascaded into. You didn't have a choice. With Discover, you can choose whether to cast the card or to put it into your hand. Now, if you put it into your hand, then you have to pay it full cost instead of getting the spell for free like you would off of a Discover or a Cascade. So that's basically how this works. So Geological Appraiser costs 4, discovers 3. Now what are we discovering into? Well, we have Liliana of the Veil, we have Preacher of the Schism, we have Aggressive Sabotage, Assassin's Trophy, Mosswood Dread Knight, Lightning Strike, Bitter Triumph. Now a thing to remember with Discover is when you discover into a card that has 2 modes, like this one here with the Dread Whispers or the just 3/2 creature, is you can choose to cast either side for free. So if you want the card draw off of Dread Whispers, you can play the card for free, draw a card, lose a life, and then later cast the Mosswood Dread Knight once you have the mana for it. So that's a very good thing to understand about Discover and this card interaction. Another thing is with cards that have kicker, like Aggressive Sabotage. If you discover off of Geological Appraiser into Aggressive Sabotage, and you happen to have an extra red mana available, you can actually still play the kicker cost and get the full effect of Aggressive Sabotage, which unfortunately, we don't have a Blightning in current standard. This is the closest allegory we have to it. It does all the same stuff that Blightning does. It's just going to cost you 1 extra mana in order to get the full effect. You can just play it for 3 and make your opponent discard 2 cards, which is still strong. But having the full effect, you're going to have to pay in an extra mana for that. So it's not that big of a setback, but the difference of 1 mana can be pretty big sometimes. So that's the Discover there. Another card that has Discover in the deck is Trumpeting Carnosaur. Now this card is really fun because this not only will Discover for 5, which will get you any other card in your entire deck, including Aclazotz or Geological Appraiser. So you can Trumpeting Carnosaur, Discover 5, you find Geological Appraiser off that Discover, play it, and then the Geological Appraisers discover 3 triggers and it gets you anything else in the deck. It's a really fun chain. Also, the Carnosaur, you can just pay 3 mana and discard it to deal 3 damage to a creature or a planeswalker. So this doubles as removal, which is great. Now, as far as like Lightning Bolt, we don't have that anymore, but we do have Lightning Strike. It does cost 1 additional mana, but it still does 3 damage to any target, and sometimes a little bit of reach is what you need to finish a game. Removal-wise, we have 2 copies of Bitter Triumph, 4 copies of Assassin's Trophy, And we have 3 copies of Liliana of the Veil, also the discard from Trumpeting Carnosaur. Land-wise, we're looking at 6 swamps, 7 mountains, 4 forests, 2 blackcleaves, 1 restless vents, 2 blooming marsh, 2 restless cottage, and 2 copperline gorge. So you do have a handful of dual lands in here. We could go up on that because we do have a lot of basics in the deck, but I don't want to have too many lands that come into play tapped. So that's our mix right there. In the sideboard, we're looking at 3 cut down, 1, 2, 3 Lord Skitter, 3 Brotherhood's End, then you have 3 Duress, and 3 Tranquil Frillback to round out our options in the sideboard. Now, the games you're going to see are best of 3 games. They're not best of 1. So that's why I threw together this sideboard to help us shore up our games against certain matchups. Now, the Brotherhood's End in here will knock out some of our creatures, but not all of them. But this is mostly in here to fight other go-wide strategies, and also, very important, you need something to be able to deal with those synthesizer decks right now. And Brotherhood's End, if you choose the destroy all artifacts with mana value 3 or less, it will nuke all their tokens, it will nuke all their synthesizers, all of their treasure tokens, their clue tokens, all that stuff, knocks it all out. This card single-handedly destroys the synthesizer deck. So that is the deck. We have a lot of removal, some good solid threats, access to free cards through Discover, and we are also running a sub-theme of discard, because we're running the Sabotage, Liliana, and Duress. Also, the Aquasats forces a discard when it attacks. So that is the deck. Let's go ahead and take it out there, play a few games, and let's have some fun. Waiting on your opponent is choosing which player will play first. Well, they'll probably choose themselves to play first. At least I would. Okay, so our hand is Blooming Marsh and Forest. We have Assassin's Trophy, Bitter Triumph, Aggressive Sabotage, Lightning Strike, and Trumpeting Carnosaur. I'm not a huge fan of this hand because it only has 2 lands and it does not have red. So I'm going to mulligan this. Okay, that's a little bit better. So we've got Blackcleave, Restless, a Swamp and a Forest, Bitter Triumph, Aggressive Sabotage, and Appraiser. So I'm going to send the Swamp back. We're going to keep 6. So Swamp goes back. Alright, our opponent goes first, and they kept a hand of 7 cards. And they are playing mono red, which is really weird to me, because typically you don't see mono red in best of 3. Typically that gets left to best of 1. But that's okay. We have tools to fight mono red in our sideboard. Okay, so our opponent played Demonic Ruckus. So what that means is we're going to play the Blackcleave Cliffs next turn to keep up mana for Bitter Triumph, because they're going to try to cast that on their Cacophony Scamp next turn. And when they go to play it, we'll nuke their creature in response. Okay, there it is. So we play the Bitter Triumph, and I will choose to discard a card. Target the Scamp, and I will discard this Forest. Actually, no, we will discard the Swamp, because we already have 2 black sources and 2 red sources. Okay, then Demonic Ruckus goes away. Let's see what they play. Phoenix Check. So that tells me they are on 1 mana. Not good for them. Okay, so let's go ahead and play the Copperline Gorge. And I'm going to play Aggressive Sabotage without Kicker, just to rip out some cards from their hand, because next turn I want to play Geological Appraiser. Let's see what they discard. Phoenix Chick and Lightning Strike. Yep, they're full in on the mono red game plan. Surprisingly though, discard is a really solid way of dealing with mono red players, because when the opponent runs out of cards in hand, they suddenly are in top deck mode, and every land that they draw is just exceedingly bad for them. Okay, so they played Phoenix Chick. Alright, so I'm going to play this other mountain. I'm going to play Geological Appraiser. Let's see what we get off of it. Oh, we get a Liliana. That's awesome. Okay, so we'll activate, make them sacrifice that creature.
Happy to help, but I'm taking the... Haven't you
They do unfortunately draw a card off Demonic Ruckus, but that's okay. Do they have a creature to follow up with, though? No, but they have Invasion of Tarkir. Are they killing Liliana or the Appraiser? Probably the Liliana. Yeah. I imagine this is a smarter play. Okay, and they don't have anything else to do. Oh, okay. Let's go here. Let's go the Appraiser again. Let's see what we get. Okay, we got an Assassin's Trophy. We'll just put that in hand. And we'll utilize that later. I'll attack for 3. Alright, so we got Mountain into Squeebob. And are they going to attack? Probably. Monstrous Rage. Alright. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, so we got a Blooming Marsh. So we'll go ahead and play the Marsh. We'll play Preacher. And I'll keep up mana for the Assassin's Trophy. And then we'll attack for 3. Then we'll end turn. Now they can play all of their mana to play the Squee. And when they do that, I'll just Assassin's Trophy it. Oh, okay, they're just going to play with fire. Okay. Okay, it does not have haste, so we will just wait. Because they don't have enough mana to get that out. So, end of turn, I'll just trophy that. Let them go get their land. Alright. Okay, we got another Preacher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attack, like so, get a land, okay, then I will play, oh, still got to go on to the attacks, and he gets to choose a block, he chose no blocks, and I'll play another Preacher, and play this Forest, and I'll end the turn, and that will give me enough mana to activate the Restless Events if I really need to. Yeah, his only play right now is to get Squee back. And I'm sure he has at least 4 cards to throw away to it. Yep, resolve. Oh, okay, so he chose not to attack. Interesting. Alright, let's go ahead and draw a card, lose a life. Nice, okay. Next. Attack, attack, attack. Right, draw a card, draw a card. Ooh. That might help us end the game. Alright. Bing, bing. Okay, it goes to 5. Alright, so in that case, I will just play the Mosswood. And that keeps us up with removal mana. Cacophony Scamp. He's just a little scamp. Alright, pass. Okay, he is going to attack. Resolve. Pass. Alright, so that's going to block that, and that's going to block that. Gain a life. Mosswood Dread Knight goes back to hand. Dread Knight is so good as just a stall-out blocker. When your opponent doesn't have trample, it's just really, really strong. Oh, he just wants to play it again, huh? Alright. Okay. Go get a land. Yep, that's game. Alright, so our opponent is going to sideboard in some stuff, and we have some stuff for him. So, what do we want here? I think we want cut down. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we're going to bring in 3 cut down. Do we need Lord Skitter? I don't know. I don't think we do, because the only thing that they are really going to be doing with the graveyard is Squee and Phoenix Check. Brotherhood's End could be good, but I did not see them playing Reckless Sabotage, so I don't really think I really need to ring it in. So, what we'll do, so we're going to bring in the 3 cut down. I'm going to drop the Bitter Triumph and 1 copy of Assassin's Trophy, because the cut down's going to deal with just about anything they have. Let's see. Let's do a double check on anything. Yeah, I think that'll do it. I really don't think I need the Brotherhood's End for this deck. So I'm going to call that done. This gives us slightly better removal. And our opponent will definitely be choosing to play first. Okay, so that's good. That's a good hand. So I'm going to go Restless Cottage, Swamp Mountain. We have Assassin's Trophy, Preacher, and 2 Appraisers. So I'm going to keep 7. So we're going to play the Restless Cottage on 1, and then the Swamp on 2, so that we can play Assassin's Trophy. Okay, no turn 1 play is really strong. So I'm going to go with the Cottage. Alright, and play a Sokanzon into a Monastery Swiftspear. Into a Kumano Faces Kakazan. So we take 2 damage, 3 damage. Okay, perfect. Alright, let's go ahead and go here. And I'm just going to hold my mana open for this turn. End turn. Alright, let's see what they play. A Phoenix check. Okay. Resolve. Resolve. Okay, Monstrous Rage. That means they get a cut down. And I will take 2 damage. No big deal. Okay. Ooh, Copperline Gorge or Black Cleave Cliffs. I think we're going to go with the Copperline Gorge. And I will play a Preacher of the Schism. Alright. Kumano is now a creature. Let's see if they have a Lightning Strike for my Preacher. No, but they have a Slick Shot. Okay, that's fine. Alright, let's go ahead and go Mountain into Appraiser. Let's see what we get. Sabotage works. Yeah, we'll knock out those last 2 cards. And those were good cards to knock out. Alright, take 2. That was a pretty clutch aggressive sabotage right there. Oh man. Alright, yeah, we take 1. Oh, he's coming with 2. Alright, kill it. Alright, let's play Mountain into Geological Appraiser number 2. Lightning Strike, perfect. Kill that. Attack with the Preacher. Make another dude. Take 2. This deck is fun. Alright, awesome. Alright, pretty cool. Well, now we know that the deck can beat Mono Red, which was very strong. That was honestly, like, Mono Red or like Boros Aggro are probably the decks that I'm most gearing to beat, because they're the most punishing aggro decks in the format. Waiting on our opponent. Okay, opponent goes first. We have all 3 of our colors. Liliana, Preacher, Agazot, Lightning Strike. Looks good to me. I'm going to keep it. Hopefully, we draw into a second black source before we get to turn 3. Alright, let's go Swamp. Okay. Oh, Deep Cavern Bat. Okay. So they're going to take my Lightning Strike. At least that's what I would do. Do they want Lily or do they want the Lightning Strike? They want the Lightning Strike. Smart. Okay. So up against Dimir. Flying Vigilance. Draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard an instant or a sorcery and or a creature card with flying. Alright, so let's let them do that. And we will see what they choose to discard. Because they still have not attacked with their Deep Cavern Bat yet. Because they discarded a Fairy Dream Thief. Interesting. That's actually pretty good, because they can still utilize the effect from the graveyard. Yeah. You can go get a land. Alright. Just need to draw a black mana source. There it is. Perfect. Alright. Blossoming Marsh. Liliana. Sacrifice. Cool. That worked out for me. I like that. And if they don't deal with Liliana this turn, I can start making them discard. Alright, play another land. Oh? Yeah, Restless Reef. And we mill 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty good targets. All right. Let's go ahead and play Mountain. And I'll play Preacher the Schism, since you're tapped out right now. Now, he could come at me with the Restless Reef again. But if he does, I'll just block with the Preacher. Okay, I know what kind of deck this is. Discard a card. Alright, I will discard this Lightning Strike. Plays a Fairy Dream Thief. He's going to Surveil 1. Now, if he doesn't kill Preacher, I'm going to get 2 triggers off this next attack. So we'll see what he does. Oh, he plays Proft. Okay. Alright, Fairy Dream Thief gets bigger. Alright, so I'm going to play this Mountain, and then I'm going to attack for 2, get both triggers. Cool. Alright, we beat in for 2. And I could play the Aquazotz, which would give me a creature, but the kind of deck that he's playing, he's got 4 cards in hand, plus Restless Reef. It really makes me think that he's going to try to kill my Aquazotz once it comes in, so that he can destroy the invasion. Bad. Steam Core Scholar. Alright, play as a Steam Core. Resolve. Discards a Fairy Mastermind. Okay. It is now a 4/4. Alright. End of turn. Make disappear. Okay. Works for me. Alright. I'll pay 3 life. Destroy that. Off you go. Alright. And then... So we are at fewer health than our opponent. Aw, man. Okay, that's fine. So now we have to not attack. Because otherwise that Restless Reef just comes in. Another Invasion of Amonkhet. Okay. This is not looking good for us. Not at all. Discard a card. Yep. Off you go. And I'm just filling my graveyard with great targets for him. What's that? Another Restless Reef. That's great. So, I would say that our sideboard is going to be very discard dependent. So I think we're going to go to game 2 now. He's pretty much got us whooped there. So let's go here. We're gonna go 3 copies of Duress, and we are going to swap out. We could swap out the Trumpeted Carnosaur. That's probably going to be a good card to get rid of, just to make it so that he can't resurrect it. Let's see here. And we have Lord Skitter, Brotherhoods, and Trumpeting Carnosaur. I'm thinking we might want Lord Skitter just to remove our own graveyard stuff. So let's see here. Yeah, we'll ditch the Aquazotz as well. And I will ditch... Actually, we'll just bring 2 Lord Skitters in. We don't need to bring the full 3 in. Okay. There you go. So that gets rid of like the major targets for him to try and reanimate from me. And gives me better discard options for him. Cut down. The cut down is good for fighting the bats. But I already have so much that I can kill the bats with. I think this will do. I think this will do fine. Right. And we are on the play as well. Play first. Yeesh. That is a lot of land. We're going to mulligan that. Okay, that's a little bit better. Dread Knight, Assassin's Trophy, and Bitter Triumph. So we'll keep those. I'll send the Forest back because I have Blooming Marsh. There we go. That's done. Now is our opponent mulliganing. Okay, so they mulliganed by 1 as well. So I'll play the Blooming Marsh. The Mosswood Dread Knight will be good for helping me dig my way back out. Dark Slick Shores for Duress. Oh, so he brought in Duress too. Okay. He's going to get rid of my Bitter Triumph. Alright. So I'll play Swamp into Mosswood Dread Knight. It gets me a Preacher. I'm going to laugh if he has another Duress for me. He has a Bat. That's fine. So he can either hit me with the Sabotage, or he can take my Assassin's Trophy. Or you can take the Preacher. Because Preacher is coming down next turn. Okay, you took the Preacher. That works for me. Okay, so we can play the Dread Knight, or we can give him land back. Don't think I want to do that. Instead, I'm going to make him discard cards. Do it now while I can. Let's see what he chooses. What did he discard? Discarded a Shoot the Sheriff and a Fairy Mastermind. That I didn't see that last game, so that might be a sideboard option. Yeah. Alright, sweet. So let's go and play the Restless Cottage. And do I want to play the Dread Knight or the Assassin's Trophy? I think I want to play the Dread Knight. Deep Cavern Bat with Profs is pretty good. I like that. Okay. They're both Assassin's Trophies. Steam Core Scholar. Alright. Yeah. Are you putting all the counters on the... No, he's putting on the Steam Core. That's smart. Okay. So let's go ahead and draw a card. That's good to have. Alright. Let's see here. I can do Assassin's Trophy. Or play another Mosswood Dread Knight. Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and trophy the Steam Core. Let him get another land out. Because he is kind of in top deck mode right now. And then I'll attack for 3. There we go. This is a pretty decent build of Dimir. It's not bad. Yeah, we're going to take some damage this turn. Yep. Alright, we're at 8. Alright, my turn. Cool. Even drew that. So let's play the Appraiser. Alright, Bitter Triumph. Target that. We unfortunately do have to take 3 damage in the process. And let's see here. Does this have Trample or Menace? No, just have Death Touch. Okay. No tax. Dream Thief. Alright. Surveils for 1. It's into hand. He's going to activate that to draw a card. Oh no, he's playing the Restless. Okay. Yeah, I'll kill that. Let's see here. Let's go here. And let's see here. If we activate that, we won't be able to play anything else. So, and that puts us to 3 as well. Yeah, I think we need to do this. That'll also give us a let's see, where's that? There, Dream Thief. Get rid of that. That'll also give us a food token that'll allow us to start getting some life. Alright, we take 1. Opponent has 1 card in hand. go ahead and go with the Rustle Skin. See if that card in hand happens to be a removal spell. It's Holden. Let's see here. What else is in his graveyard here? I guess we get rid of the Fairy Mastermind. Go next. Okay, works for me. Alright, end turn. We can just sacrifice those food tokens at end of turn. Yep, take the 1. That's the thing about profs, is if you don't have card draw, it's not really doing anything for you. Alright, sweet. Let's go and play Preacher. Okay, sacrifice to make disappear. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, resolve it all. Alright. And then I'll play the Masu Dread Knight. Alright. Opponent takes a turn. Alright. Pay a life, draw a card. Plays a Mirex. That could be difficult. Alright, let's go ahead and play this. And I'm going to play Dread Whispers. Okay, that gives me a Skitter. Attack for 3. And they got 1 card left in hand. And yeah, we'll go with the word Skitter. And okay, cool. They had me a little worried there. I wasn't sure if they're gonna have mana to counter or not. 2 cards in hand, Mirex on the table, and Prof's Eidetic Memory. That's one thing I'm pretty happy with about this deck, is it does have enough draw to dig yourself out of problems. You know, I did not see a single copy of that battle being played so far this game. I wonder if he boarded them out. Alright, just gonna play that land. Alright, let's get rid of Deep Cavern Bat. Alright, attack with the boys. Alright, put him down to 9. Mosswood Dread Knight comes into play. See what they do. I'm kind of expecting... Oh! I was expecting a board wipe at that moment, actually. Okay, so... What do we have? Cut down, Lord Skitter, Aquazats. We could bring another Aquazats back in. But I'm not sure that we would really need to. Unfortunately, we didn't draw into our duresses at all. While our opponent did. That kind of sucked. Let's see here. I'm not 100% certain that they boarded out the battles. I think they might have just not drawn into them. So I'm loath to try and bring the Trumpeting Carnosaurs back in. Yeah, I think I kind of want to keep it like this. So we'll keep it like this. Play a game. Our opponent gets to go first. We'll see what happens. This is a pretty decent build of Dimir, though. Not too shabby. Hi, Ishak. I didn't see the messages rolling in. Trade trophy for cut down. Probably, yeah. That probably would be a good trade up. The only argument I have to that is that I want to be able to hit his manlands with the trophy. Granted, it will still allow him to get another basic land into play. The creatures that cause me the most grief in this match have been the manlands. So, while it's not ideal, and Cutdown does hit pretty much the rest of his deck, I think I want to keep the trophies in. But thank you very much for the feedback. I do appreciate that. Well, our opponent is taking their sweet time in sideboarding. Oh. Oh, he just left. Okay, cool. I guess he decided he didn't want to continue that match. Did you have fun in the match? You know what? I think I did. Put a little smiley face. Okay, so we have a mountain and 2 forests, a preacher, an Aquazot's, a lightning strike, and a trumpeting. So we have at least 3 turns to draw into a black mana source, of which there are plenty in this deck. So I'm thinking we should be okay. Especially because we have 2 removal spells to stall with. So I think we'll be okay. Famous last words. Alright, our opponent plays a Raucous Theater, so they're going to surveil 1. They put Ferocification in the graveyard. Beginning of combat in your turn, choose 1. Target creature you control gets +2/+0, or target creature you control gains Menace and Haste. Ooh, that's pretty strong. Oh, look at that. We drew a Blooming Marsh. That is fantastic. That's exactly what we wanted. Alright, they play a Blackcleave Cliffs. Another black-red land, so it tells me that they are firmly in Rakdos. What do we have here? When Cunning Coyote enters the battlefield, another target creature you control gets +1/+1 against haste until end of turn. Okay, alright. So probably going to do that next turn, which means we don't want to cast the Restless Events this turn. We want to put a mountain in play so that we can kill whatever the Coyote gives haste to. Or potentially they just play the Coyote itself, because the Coyote has haste as well. Ooh, smart player. Very smart. Okay, in that case, we're gonna just pop you. At least that way you don't get to make me discard something. That was a smart play. Bravo. Alright, so I'm assuming the plotted Coyote comes in now. No, they chose not to. Alright, that's cool. Forest. And Preacher. Alright, he goes for the threat, the Preacher. So I'm shields down for this next turn, so whatever his plan is for that Coyote, he can absolutely pop off this turn. Oh my... Yep. Yep. Yikes. Oh my god. Okay. Well, now I know what your plan was. And it's a good plan. It's disgusting, but it's a good plan. Oh my god. I was not expecting that. Yeah, do what I can. That is a creative deck. I'm a fan of this. Okay. All right. Now I know what to expect. That was absurd. Okay. So interesting combo. Very interesting. Okay, Duress is not going to do me a whole lot of good here. Lord Skitter either, because he's not really reanimation strategy. Brotherhood's End, not really either. I think Cut Down might be the play. We might also need to lean on our discard a little bit. Oh man, that was so silly. I don't know what to mulligan in or sideboard in. Shoot. Honestly, I think I'm gonna keep it as is because I really need targeted removal for specifically that demon. Oh my gosh. Alright, yeah. Send it in. That was interesting. My hat's off. I was not expecting that. Yeah, I will play first, for sure. Alright, yeah, keep. That is definitely making it into the video. I was expecting him to come in with something silly like a slick shot or something. I was not expecting that. Alright, Raucous Theater, surveils. He chooses to keep the card there though. That makes me a little worried. But for now, I'm gonna draw a card and lose a life. Cool. Dig my way out of that hole. Alright, plays a swamp. Cool. I'm gonna play this forest And I'm going to play a Mosswood Dread Knight. So we need to keep an eye out for his Plotted Coyote, and whenever he gets to turn 4. That's going to be really, really awkward. Okay. Let's see. God, he's probably going to swing in with like the exact same thing again, because he's about to hit to 4 land. And I unfortunately don't have a Utsav Baral, welcome aboard. Thank you for subscribing. That was very nice of you. I don't think I have... Okay, well, I did just draw the Assassin's Trophy. Okay. Alright. That's fine. That's fine. I'm okay with this. Because I can at least deal with it now. Yeah, I take a bunch of damage. No biggie. Alright. Let's see here. But I'm still stuck on 3 land. God, this sucks. Alright. Well, trophy time. It's gotta go before he can untap and throw it at me. No attacks. I'm just gonna stick it right here. Kranko's Buzz Crusher. Flying Trample enters the battlefield for each player. Destroy up to 1 non-basic land that player controls. For each land destroyed this way, its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put it to the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Sure, yeah, I'll take action. That'll actually help me out a little bit. I'll go get a swamp. And hopefully that shuffle will draw me into a 4th land. Kranko's Buzz Crusher. I have not seen that in a standard deck at all. Ugh, that's not good. That's really not good. Jesus. Alright, well we kind of have to do this. Let's play it. No attacks. I have to discard a card now too. So we'll discard a Trumpeting Carnosaur. I don't think I'm going to be winning this one. Yeah, we definitely need to stick the landing on this. But I honestly just think he wins. Oh, Jesus, yeah. No land, no incorrect mana, no way to just get rid of that thing off the table. This is just over. No, there's nothing I can do. Congratulations, you have a very interesting deck. Well played. Our opponent is likely going first. Yes, that is correct. So we have black and 2 mountains, a Liliana, a Lightning Strike, a Trumpeting Carnosaur, and a Mosswood Dread Knight. So we have some early game removal. We can't play Liliana off the bat. However, the Mosswood Dread Knight will allow us to potentially draw into our 2nd black mana source. So let's go ahead and keep this and hope for the best. Okay, so our opponent plays Mountain off the rip, so that makes me a little bit worried. But this is best of 3, so we might be in a situation where our opponent is not playing mono red. Never mind, that's a play with fire. Our opponent is definitely playing mono red. Alright, 2nd mountain into a Phoenix Chick. Very fun. Alright, so got a mountain. Now, in this situation, I don't want to utilize the Mosswood Dread Knight because I want to keep mana open for Lightning Strike, because our opponent's next turn is very likely going to be a powerful one. And I want to be able to react if they start playing stuff like Monstrous Rage. Okay, they are dumping their hand as quickly as possible. Alright, they play a Swift Spear. Means they possibly have a 1 mana spell to cast. Well, let's go to Post Blocker Step. Okay, they did not play anything, so in that case, I'm going to cast this right here. Yep. I was afraid of that. I was hoping he wouldn't have it, but he did. Alright. Well, they are down to 1 card left in hand, so I'm just going to play a Preacher so I can get a blocker out there. We'll see what they do. Okay, they play the Slick Shot. Alright, cool. We'll block there. We'll take 2 damage. That's fine. Okay, cool. So we got another land here. And we are going to swing for 2 so we can get a 1/1 lifelinker. And that keeps up mana to kill whatever they send my way. Alright, another Phoenix check. Perfect. Alright, so we'll hit pass. Alright. So I'm going to discard the Trumpeting Carnosaur to get rid of the Slick Shot and take 2 damage. Alright, here is that. Oh gosh, I really don't want to burn life points by casting the Master Dread Knight spell. So I'm going to start with an attack. Then I'm going to play this side of Master Dread Knight, keeping up mana for Bitter Triumph. Another Slick Shot. Okay, that's fine. Pass. Alright. We're going to Bitter Triumph that. We're going to discard a card to play that. Get that out of there. Yeah, we'll discard the Liliana, because I'd rather play the Aquazats if we get a second black mana source. Not great. That's fine, though. That's fine. Alright. Let's even the playing field a little bit. What do you got? It's probably a land. Alright, cool. Good. That was not too shabby. So, what do we bring in? Cut Down, obviously. So Cut Down comes in. We ditch the Bitter Triumphs and 1 copy of Assassin's Trophy. The Tranquil Frillback could be good, but it's a little expensive for this matchup. Do we want Brotherhood's End? Probably not. I think we're going to skip on the Brotherhood's End. I think all we really need is the Cut Down, so we'll go with that. Alright, friend, show me what you got. Our opponent is absolutely going first. Okay, that is way too much land, so we're going to mulligan that away. And that's a little bit better. So I will keep this, and we're probably going to send back one of the Trumpeting Carnosaurs. There we go. Alright, cool. They did not have a turn 1 play. That's good for me. So I'm going to play Restless Cottage first. Okay, play a Slicky. Alright, so I will go ahead and go with the Copperline Gorge, and that will give us access to any of those removal spells. So we're just going to hold this. The good thing about the Slick Shot Show-Off is it doesn't have prowess. It just has +2/+0.
I hope you like your hors d'oeuvres extra crispy.
Okay, deal 1 damage.
Aw, you're looking a little singed.
Pass. Alright, pop him off. Ooh, that could be pretty strong. But I think we want to play the Preacher first. Let's see if they have a strong follow-up. It is entirely possible that they could just dump their entire hand this turn. They do have 5 mana. Urabrask's Forge, huh? Interesting choice. I'll take the 1. Yeah, that's what I thought. Didn't think they had too much of a follow-up there. Okay, so we got 2 sabotages now, so what we're going to do... So I'm going to... Let's see. Does this have a... It has a good -7. I think I'll just attack the player. Looks like he's holding priority for something, though. Okay, we attack. Okay, and I'm going to sabotage. Make him ditch 2 cards. 2 mountains. Wow. So they were flooded. Oh, a monstrous rage. Mm-hmm. And no blocks. Because I know you're going to cast that Monstrous Rage, and as Trample, it'd be pointless to block. Yeah, come on in, champ. Alright, my turn. Next. Attack with both. Right there. Actually, this will attack there. Just to keep them off 7. Okay, and take some damage. We're going to rip out the rest of that hand. Pretty good. That was a pretty good rip. Okay, the exile the top card. It is a Play with Fire.
So what?
Okay, yeah, shoot me for 2. Thinking this next turn will just get rid of that forage. I'll block it this time. Okay. That works for me. Discard against mono red can actually be pretty good. Okay, we are back with the post-game wrap-up, and my thoughts are pretty much this. This deck is stupidly fun to play. Like, even if you're not winning all of your games with this deck is really fun. Having access to so many different methods of removal and different threats, and just being able to rip up your opponent's hand with cards like Aggressive Sabotage or an early Liliana the Veil. It's like, this deck is just really fun to play. Like, this is definitely a deck I'm going to be keeping going forward. Now, as far as what this deck does well versus what it doesn't, you've got really good game against other mid-range decks and aggro decks. Like, mono red is a pretty easy matchup for a deck like this because you have so many ways to deal with all of their threats. Where this deck kind of struggles is against really hardcore dedicated control decks. A deck that is going to counterspell all your stuff and board wipe all your stuff turn after turn after turn is going to be difficult for you to get past, even with all of the free spells that you get access to through Discover. So it might actually be good for you to take this deck into best of 1. Because in best of 1, at least right now, you're going to be seeing more aggro than anything else. When you take this into best of 3, you're going to be fighting more mid-range decks and more control decks. So if you want to cut your teeth on a bunch of mono red or Boros decks, maybe drag a couple of these Brotherhood's Ends into the main deck and just treat this as a kind of like mid-range control deck and just beat up aggro players all day. So that's probably what I would end up doing if I wanted to just grind wins. But yeah, this is a pretty fun deck. I like it a lot. As far as taking an old school deck and updating it for modern standard, we could definitely do worse. I mean, some of the cards aren't as good as their old school counterparts, but they're still really strong and they get the job done, especially with the reach that we have from Lightning Strike and Aggressive Sabotage. So that's it. That's my thoughts on the deck. I will leave a link to the deck list in the description box down below. And so if you like this deck, go ahead and import it to Arena. Go make some iterations on it yourself, make some changes on it if you want to. And now that you've seen it, go play some games. Take care of yourselves.